Magandang araw mga kaibigan. This is Keso from Shophaus Gaming and we are back with a new top 10 list, and this time for the PS4. As we are nearing the tail end of the life cycle ng PS4 dahil slowly nagta-transition na tayo into PS5, ibibigay ko muna sa inyo ang 10 sa mga pinakamagandang games na nalaro ko sa PS4. Again, this list is not in particular order. Wala siyang specific ranking from 10 to 1. Labo-labo siya. I don't know who's first or who's last. Importante sa akin, these are the top games in my list. So, let's get started. Tipping off our list is Until Dawn. Isa siyang interactive drama horror video game na nalaro ko in like ever. It was just by a chance na nagkaroon ako ng copy ng game kasi kasama siya sa bundle na binili ko na naka-promo. So one day, out of curiosity, sinubukan kong laruin. And I was surprised kasi hindi naman ako naglalaro ng mga ganito. Pero nahook nga ako sa the way na present yung story, character development, at yung butterfly effect na gameplay mechanic ng Until Dawn, which forces the player to make decisions that will affect the outcome of the game. Simple lang yung controls, just your typical action game, pero ang difference dito, walang action. Lakad-lakad ka lang, investigate ng item, magtingin ng clues, hanapin ng susi, mga ganun lang. Madalas na nagkakaroon lang ng mga crucial decisions na nagtitrigger ng butterfly effect kapag pipili ka na ng options during quick time events. Yung story nila nagsimula sa isang bakasyon ng magbabarkada. Prank nila yung kaibigan nilang babae, naging dahilan ng pagtakbo nito palabas ng cabin. Tapos sinundan naman siya ng kapatid niya para habulin. Dahil sa madilim yung gabi, natakot sila dun sa akala nilang masamang taong umahabol sa kanila. Nalaglag sila sa cliff at hindi na natagpuan yung magkapatid. This is where it gets interesting. Just 1 year after nung incident, in-invite ng kuya nung dalawang babae yung magbabarkada para magbakasyon ulit doon sa cabin kung saan nangyari yung insidente. The game is filled with expositions at dahil nga dun sa butterfly effect, the option to alter the outcome of the story is within your hands. Kung naghahanap ka ng something different, you can try Until Dawn. It's a worthwhile experience for me, given na hindi ako mahilig sa ganitong klaseng laro. Next on our list is God of War. Ito yung sequel ng kapita-pitagang God of War 3 noong 2010. So unlike dati na based sa Greek mythology yung story, this installment is inspired by Norse mythology naman. The story is set some time ago after the events of God of War 3. Sa mga fans, makikita nila na malaki na yung difference. Liban sa balbasarado na si Kratos, dadbad na rin siya. At dito nga sa game na ito, ini-introduce ang anak niyang si Atreus, na siya ding nagsisilbi bilang companion unit niya. So nagsimula yung story ng game sometime after mamatay ng asawa ni Kratos. At ang huling hiling nito, isaboy ang kanyang remains sa pinakamataas na rurok in all of 9 realms. So what's interesting about their journey? Awkward si Kratos pagdating kay Atreus dahil hindi siya kasama nito sa pagpapalaki sa kanya. So yung bonding nila comes only after the death of Atreus' mother. So mapunta naman tayo doon sa addicting gameplay ng God of War. Medyo na iba na siya than the previous installments ng God of War. Hindi na siya sing fast-paced ng dati, or at least on par with Devil May Cry. Now it's more like Dark Souls yung pace, leaning onto tactical combat instead of button mashing. Napaka-satisfying gamitin nung bagong weapon ni Kratos, which is yung Leviathan Axe. It functions similarly to Thor's Mjolnir. Yung kapag hinagis niya, bumabalik ng kusa sa kamay niya. Another change in the series comes in the form of RPG mechanics such as loot items and experience points. So, graphically speaking, wala na akong masasabi sa kanya. As you can see, napakaganda ng graphics, maganda yung sounds, well crafted yung story niya. Very fun and addicting yung gameplay. Hindi ko pala nasabi na semi-open world yung laro. The game is packed to the brim. Side quest, achievements, hidden weapons and armor, pati challenges meron din. Kaya ang masasabi ko lang, kahit hindi ka fan ng previous God of War and you have a PS4, you should play this. This is why we play video games. Next on our list is Nier Automata. This is honestly one of the best games I ever played sa PS4. In terms of graphical fidelity, easily one of the most beautiful graphics I've ever seen in a video game. Yung soundtrack sobrang ganda rin. Yung gameplay, fast and fluid. This is 60 FPS kahit sa base PS4 lang, kaya ang sarap sa eyes. Very addicting yung combat niya and exploration as well. The story is kind of bit weird pero easily understandable and not really complicated. So the story revolves around 3 characters. Isa sa pinaka-favorite kong waifu material, si 2B, at yung sidekick niyang si 9S. At ang fugitive prototype na waifu material din na si A2. So what sold me about this game, liban kay 2B of course, ay yung mismong gameplay niya. Sobrang captivating ng bawat area na ine-explore ni 2B at 9S. Mga side quest at mission, pati mga mini games and challenges like fishing, pagkolekta ng chips at bagong weapons, pag-akyat sa mga hagdan at pagtingin sa puwet ni 2B. There are so many fun things to do. At ang maganda rito, it has a high replay value dahil after you clear the main story, lilipat ka sa perspective ng other character natin. So to fully finish the game, kailangan mong tapusin ito ng 3 beses minimum. What is funny about this, merong 26 different endings yung game. 5 yung legit endings and additional 21 para sa mga kengkoy na bagay gaya ng pagkain ng nakakalasong isda o pagtalon sa isang bangin. Tons of variety and content. Sobrang sulit nito lalo na sa mga action game fans. Next we have Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, a new IP brought to us by the same makers of Dark Souls and Bloodborne. So dun pa lang, meron na tayong expectation that the game is very challenging. And true to that statement, totoo ngang challenging yung laro. Maganda yung story pero gaya ng ibang mga From Software games, mahirap siyang sundan kung hindi ka magbabasa ng mga materials or manonood kay Vatividia. The graphics are pretty nice, pati yung sounds. Bagay na bagay siya sa tone ng laro. Pero the combat is where the game shines. Some might find it hard to learn, some might find it easy. Pero here is something that we might agree upon. Kapag natutunan mo na o na-master yung battle system, it is very, very rewarding. Simple lang yung premise ng game. Pupunta ka lang from point A to point B. You encounter enemies along the way at diskarte mo na kung mag-i-stealth ka ba o papatayin mo silang lahat. And along the journey are several mini bosses na minsang optional at minsan mandatory naman na patayin sila. The key to every encounter is learning how the bosses attack at dun mo ipapasok ang diskarte kung paano ka makakapari. Dahil most of the time, mas effective ang posture break kesa sa directly idadamage mo yung HP ng kalaban. Yun na yung challenge essentially. Wala kang stamina na i-manage, wala kang stats na i-compute. Very simple. Kahit isa lang ang weapon ni Sekiro, which is yung espada niya, marami ka namang sub-weapons na pwedeng makuha at i-upgrade. Gaya ng flame vent, shuriken, at whistle. Meron din siyang mga skills na pwedeng ma-learn. Kaya hindi ka magsasawa basta-basta sa combat niya. Kung meron kang sikmura para sa paulit-ulit na pagkamatay, try Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Pero for sure, hindi lang twice ang pagkamatay mo dito. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Arguably, isa sa pinakamagandang laro na nalaro ko sa buong buhay ko. Sobrang ganda ng graphics at gameplay. With a large emphasis dun sa salitang gameplay. Dahil sa intricacy na kasama nito, this game still is a tactical espionage action. Pero dito, bukod sa main mission, meron na ring mga optional side missions. Kaya marami kang pwedeng gawin. The game is open world, hindi katulad ng mga previous Metal Gear na linear lang. Ang ganda talaga ng mechanics, merong date and night cycle, merong weather system na makakatulong sa'yo o makakahinder during missions. Kaya you have to be flexible. Halimbawa, kapag umuulan, mas mahirap kang ma-detect ng mga kalaban. At kapag may sandstorm, mahihirapan silang makita ka pero hindi ka naman makakatawag ng backup. Dagdag din sa addicting gameplay nito, yung base building at recruitment mechanic ng laro. Halos lahat ng kalaban, pwede mong i-recruit. Yung mga sasakyan, resources at gamit nila, pwede mong kunin. Sobrang daming unlockables, mga story exposition, mga challenges and rewards. Sobrang ganda kasi ng graphics niya and the motions are very fluid. Kaya yung combat system niya very satisfying, lalo na yung CQC. There are a lot of weapons to choose from kaya hindi ka mabobore. Meron ka ring companion unit na kasama sa bawat mission na pipiliin mo. Pwedeng kabayo, yung aso, yung robot o yung paborito ko, si Quiet. Story-wise, yung laro is typical Metal Gear. The story follows around Big Boss before niya itayo yung Outer Heaven, which is the start of the Metal Gear series. Dito mo malalaman yung origin ng ibang mga karakter like Psycho Mantis and Liquid Snake. Unfortunately, ayon sa alamat, marami daw ang nakat na content para dito sa larong ito. Nevertheless, ito ang pinnacle ng Metal Gear series para sa akin. A must play for every fans and action game fans alike. Bloodborne, ang kaunahan ko at introduction sa mundo ng Soulsborne series. Just like Until Dawn, I was diving head first dito sa game na to, having no idea what it is. Kasi kasama siya doon sa 3 game na binili ko na naka-promo. Literally, less than 5 minutes na nakokontrol ko yung character, nakita ko na kaagad yung game over screen. I died. At first, nakakabwisit kasi hindi ka makausad. Every time you die, the enemy comes back. Nagre-respawn sila dun sa area. So halimbawa, kapag ka naglalakbay ka tapos halos naubos mo na lahat ng kalaban, tapos namatay ka, mabubuhay ulit yung kalaban after you respawn. That's till I learned the mechanics and how the game works. So nag-farm ako, nag-plan ng mga efficient routes, in-upgrade yung weapons. Experiment ako during my first playthrough because the game is very rewarding. Lalo na kung alam mo na kung paanong gagawin at anong diskarte sa mga kalaban at area. Maganda yung graphics niya, very spooky. Yung story gaya ng Sekiro, medyo mahirap intindihan kung hindi mo panonoorin si Vatividia. Maganda rin yung soundtrack, lalo na yung sa mga boss fights. Speaking of bosses, dun talaga nagsashine yung larong Bloodborne. Mahirap kalabanin yung mga boss sa unang tagpo nyo, so you need to study how they work. And upon defeating them, euphoric yung pakiramdam, very satisfying. Kung mahilig ka sa Soulsborne o Souls-like games, this is for you. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Ibang klaseng ligaya yung binigay sa akin ng game na to nung nakuha ko siya. Alam naman natin na isa ang Resident Evil sa mga favorite kong game franchise. Sobrang na-enjoy ko yung laro. Transition siya from fixed camera angle to over-the-shoulder perspective. Grabe yung polish ng graphics na ginawa nila dito sa game na ito. Napakadilim, nakakatakot. Pati yung sounds, yung voice acting, near perfect. Ang gripe ko lang dito, ang pangitignan ni Claire pag lumalabas yung ngipin niya at saka kapag kabasa siya ng ulan. Ang ganda ng gameplay niya. The combat is very polished. Makunat yung zombies kahit na nasa standard mode lang. At dahil sa ito nga ay isang remake, there are certain stuffs that were cut from the original game. Kaya ng bogan ni Claire, yung cameo ni Brad Vickers, yung proper A and B scenario ni Claire at Leon. Pero kahit ganon, na-enjoy ko yung game at its fullest. Sobrang sakto lang yung challenge ng game. Sobrang satisfying na matapos mo yung hardcore mode. Despite being named hardcore, I think that's the level that it should have been played. Grabe din yung laro in terms of replayability. Kasi marami siyang unlockables. Infinite handgun, infinite submachine gun, infinite gatling gun, and rocket launcher. Hindi rin nawala yung mga extra mode, gaya ng Fort Survivor at Tofu Survivor. At ang kagandahan dito, naglabas pa sila ng free DLC, mga what if scenario ng mga characters sa Resident Evil 2. This is the perfect love letter para sa lahat ng fans ng Resident Evil. Yung reimagining ng mga puzzles, yung mga cinematics, napakagaganda. Yung pagsulpot ni Mr. X sa scenario A pa lang, it gave me the chills na hinahabol ka niya throughout the Raccoon City Police Station. Yung yabag ng sapatos, yung change sa background music, sobrang intense. Yung the best para sa akin, yung ginawa nila sa mga boss fight. Challenging and enjoyable at the same time. Lalo na sa mga subsequent playthroughs mo. If you want Resident Evil, this is Resident Evil. Next game on our list is The Last of Us Part 2. One of the most controversial video game releases of 2020. Hindi dahil sa pangit ito o puno ng bugs. It's because it divided the fanbase into loving or hating the game. I won't be saying any spoilers, so let's leave it at that. I was a fan of the first Last of Us, pero sa PS4 ko na siya nalaro. Yung first game, very well made, very engaging yung story, at mapapa-invest ka talaga sa mga characters. But the part 2 made it a lot better. Yung graphics niya and setting, napakaganda. Yung motivation and setup ng story, very realistic. Kaya when playing through this game, you will have an emotional roller coaster ride for sure. Just keep an open mind dun sa storya. The gameplay, well, it hasn't changed much. Konti lang yung improvements, pero okay lang. Kasi it was never broken at saka hindi niya kailangan baguhin. It has an effective, very addictive gameplay. Yung mag-scour ka ng mga gamit sa drawers, mga cupboards, yung mag-craft ka ng weapons and items, mag-solve ng simple puzzles. Everything is well put. Pati yung combat, for both human and infected enemies. It's a very fun experience, lalo na yung story. Grabe yung narrative niya. Para ka lang nanonood ng isang movie, pero kinokontrol mo yung character mo at times. So the story is told in two different perspectives. Para sa akin, yun yung nagpaganda ng narrative niya. At syempre, for replayability, may mga unlockables din pagkatapos mo ng main game. After select for easy backtracking. At higher difficulties kung naghahanap ka pa ng challenge. Overall, one of the best games I ever played. Pero it is less likely na lalaruin ko siya ulit. Personally, hindi ito ang type of game na trip ko talaga. Pero I would recommend it to anyone dahil ganun siya kaganda. One of the best story ever. Next game is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Ito yung pangalawa sa Uncharted series na nalaro ko. Una, yung Uncharted Golden Abyss for the PS Vita. So meron na akong certain expectation pagdating sa laro na ito. This is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. Marami siyang platformer elements, pati mga puzzles. Meron din siyang combat, so gumagamit din siya ng firearms at melee. May pagka-open world style yung gameplay ng Uncharted 4, kaya mas malawak yung exploration. Sobrang ganda yung graphics nitong game na ito, simula pa lang, at lalo na yung story. The story revolves around sa kwento ni Nathan Drake. Isa siyang retired na treasure hunter na nabudol pabalik nung matagal niya nang inakala na patay niyang kapatid. So napakaganda nung story nitong laro. Dahil again, para ka lang nanonood ng movie. Isang mahabang movie. Very relatable yung mga characters niya. Gusto ko yung sense of adventure nung laro. Maganda yung bawat sections niya. Yung sense of urgency, yung adrenaline, damang-dama mo siya habang naglalaro. The story is a fitting end para sa kwento ni Nathan Drake. And upon completing the game, meron ding mga unlockables. The overall experience is very fun. The story was engaging enough for me to finish the game. Pero kagaya ng The Last of Us 2, this is not a game I would play over and over again. Pero I would recommend this to anyone because the game is just that good. Kaya kung meron kang PS4, you should play this. It's worth it. Oh boy! Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game is the hype. The original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation was easily the best RPG in that era. Genre-defining siya. Full 3D cutscenes, the gameplay, storyline, the minigames, saka mga hidden secrets. Sobrang memorable nung cast niya. At dahil sobrang sikat niya, ginatasan siya ng maigi ng parent company niya, which is yung Squaresoft, na ngayon ay Square Enix na. Ginawan siya ng movie, spin-off games, at nilagay yung iba't ibang karakter niya for cameos, even in different games. So ayun nga, finally, nilabas na yung Final Fantasy VII Remake sa PS4 noong 2020. The graphics is mind-blowing. Sobrang ganda. Combat, sobrang polished. And addicting as well. Kung dati wala kang emotional investment sa mga characters kasi mukha silang mga karton, ngayon sigurado magkakaroon na dahil very lifelike yung itsura nila. Most people gripe sa fact na yung buong FF7 Remake nag-revolve just around Midgar, yung starting area ng original game, na halos 3 to 5 hours lang from the start. The thing that they don't get about Final Fantasy VII Remake is that this is not a recreation of the same game. Ito ay continuation nung story ng original FF7. Just after the first mission, mararamdaman mo na there's something different about the narrative. May parang iba sa kwento, parang may nadagdag, parang may nabago, which will be fleshed out as you were playing the game. Sobrang ganda ng ginawa nila. Grabe, pati yung voice acting, napakahusay. Yung remastered soundtrack, napakaganda sa tenga. As a fan ng original FF7, I was swooning all throughout the game. Medyo nabitin lang ako sa mga side quest, pero okay lang dahil everything is more than I could have asked for. This is one of the best games I ever played in recent memory. This game is perfect for the new generation of gamers. Maganda yung graphics, engaging yung gameplay. For sure, magkakaroon na naman ng new generation ng waifu wars for Tifa and Aerith. Kaya for every gamers out there, if you want to try Final Fantasy, I recommend Final Fantasy VII Remake. There you have it mga kaibigan. Yun ang top 10 list ko for the PS4. Comment down below kung nagustuhan nyo yung video and leave a like. Kung wala sa list yung inyong paboritong game, kindly comment it down. Or yung top 10 list nyo para makapag-input ako kung ano mang masasabi ko dun sa paborito nyong laro in case na nalaro ko na din siya. Kung may pera ka at gusto mo akong supportahan, consider joining the membership. Kung wala naman, salamat na lang sa lahat. Hanggang sa muli, paalam.